Okay, so this is going to be a quick little introduction to getting started in Computing 2. So this module is going to be taught entirely online this year, and at least in semester 1. We'll see where we are in semester 2. And there are a lot of online resources that we've provided to help with this. So in this video, I'm just going to talk you through some of the things that are available. So I'll talk about the module on Minerva and the video tutorials, and I'll also talk about the module website. Okay, so the first thing I can talk about then is the Minerva pages for the module. So you get at this just in the standard way as you do for all your Minerva modules, and on it you'll find probably the most useful thing to start off will be the Learning Resources page. So this starts off with a couple of videos, including this one, and then talks a little bit about ways in which you can go and get help on the module, and then talks about getting things set up to run Python. We'll cover how to get it running on the new Windows Virtual Desktop that the IT have set up in place of the clusters, and it's also got things about getting Python set up on your own machine. There's a set of lecture notes back from 5 years ago, with the last time I actually gave this as a lecture course rather than with online video tutorials, and a bunch of other information. The other thing to point out is it's got a set of notes and task sheets from the Computing 1 labs. Again, these are actually from several years ago, but basically it's the same course that you did if you need to look back at things. So the first thing to say is that the majority of the primary material for this course is in the form of these video tutorials. Unlike Computing 1, these are not hour-long lectures. I've tried to split them up a little bit more. So if we go to the video tutorials, basically the way this works is we've got a series of strands of different videos covering things like Python syntax, functions and modules, finding bugs, and so on. Then if we look within each of these strands, you then have a series of units, and sometimes these units are then split up into smaller parts as well. So typically unit 1 of each of these strands is basically revision. That's covering things that we've gone over before. And then units 2 and 3 are kind of the core material, sometimes 4 as well. And 5 and higher is going to be mainly things which are extensions to this module. So they're things which, if you're going to do a lot of Python programming, it's good to know about, but they're not necessary in order to do well on this particular course. The video tutorials basically come in two brands. So the ones which have a blue banner and a white text background like this, these are based on IPython or Jupyter notebooks. These are the same things that we'll be using in the workshops. And so as well as the video tutorial, there's a PDF version of it, which is essentially a set of notes. And there's also these .ipynb files that you can go and run in Jupyter notebooks and actually work your way through. And again, we'll be demonstrating the use of Jupyter notebooks in the computer lab sessions. Then the other sort of video tutorials that we've got are the ones which have a green background. These are slightly older versions, so there's just the video tutorial. I hope to be able to replace more of these with the Jupyter notebook versions as we go through the year. Okay, so that's the kind of main material. For each lab, I should also say, obviously, these are YouTube videos, so you can always get them on YouTube. I've discovered in the past that this is more reliable if you're not on campus than trying to use the university's media site software. If you're, each week what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make a YouTube playlist, or I have a YouTube playlist that will give you the videos that are most relevant to that particular week's set of activities. So then in your timetable, you will see that each odd numbered weeks, so weeks 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, you have a computer lab. So you'll find the information about the computer labs in the computer labs section. And again, I've got an introductory video which explains how to access the computer lab session. It's being done through Blackboard Collaborate. And then in the same folder, you will get each week, it will appear a folder with the task sheet as a Jupyter notebook and a PDF, and any other data files or anything else that you need to go and work through the task. In the even numbered weeks, there is time set aside in your diaries. That's in order to go and do the watching the videos and the study. And then as part of the course you've got 3 what I call mini assessments to submit this semester. So these are relatively simple tasks just to make sure you're keeping on track with the work. And then the main assessment that happens in semester 2, that's going to be based on the kind of accumulating all the information, all the learning you've done in this semester. So you do really want to do these mini assessments, not least because they're actually compulsory, but also in order to make sure that you're developing your programming skills as we go along. So the details of the mini assessments will be given out in the task sheets in weeks 1, 5, and 9, and the mini assessments are due in at on the Thursday of weeks 3, 7, and 11. And then each one of those mini assessments is worth 5%. So you'll want to go and look out for that. So the other thing that you need to go and do that goes along with every computer lab session you do is go and give a progress report. And all of these things will take place on the module website, which is linked to in various places on Minerva, but is easy enough to remember. It's just https://viz2320.leeds.ac.uk. And it looks like this. And the first thing you do is you go and log in. And when it logs in, it knows who you are. If it doesn't let you log in, then drop me an email because it means that you've not been added to the course correctly. Okay, so the menu here offers various things. So the first thing the entry is the primes, word count, Planck's law. These are the mini assessment tasks. So I won't go into those now. You'll get information about them in the task sheet. Then there's one with feedback. That's where you'll get feedback on the mini assessments. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And the final one is progress report. So this is what you have to do once per computer lab session. So at some point between 9 o'clock on the Monday morning of a week when you have a computer lab and 10 p.m. on the Friday of the week after, you have to go onto this website and click on progress report. And then it's very simple. There's just 2 boxes, one for you to go and report what you've been getting up to, and another one for you to give some idea of what you're going to be currently working on in the coming weeks. Now, I really strongly recommend that you don't leave this to the last minute. By far the best way to go and do it is to go and do it when you do your task sheet for the computer lab, and then you know you've done it and it's out of the way. Next semester, when you're doing your main bit of coursework, you'll have to do one of these each week to go and show how you've been working on completing your coursework. So yeah, you go and fill out a few notes here. It doesn't have to be massive. A few sentences, a few bullet points is absolutely fine for each of these things. And then you click on the update button, or it may say submit if this is the first time you've done it. If you want, you can refer back to the previous progress reports that you've submitted here, if you can't remember what it was you said last time. Okay, so that's how you submit the progress reports. Then the final one is the feedback button, feedback menu. So this shows you, it's going to show you 2 things this semester. It's going to confirm that you've submitted progress reports. And in particular, when you submit a progress report, you want to make sure you get one of these 16-character codes. You'll also get one of those every time you submit a mini assessment. Make a note of those codes. That's what we use so you can prove that you did actually submit it, in case there's any question later as to whether you did or didn't manage to get submission. So if you've submitted something correctly, you will get one of those codes. You'll be able to see you've got one of those codes. With the mini assessments, once the deadline has passed, it'll take about a week to get the marking all come through. So 1 week after the deadline, you should get a mark, and it'll also give you a link to go and look at some of the feedback from that particular mini assessment. So you'll see that appears here, and here are the 3 mini assessments ready to set up to go. So on this site, you can go and keep track of your status. And just to be absolutely clear, if you do not submit 6 progress reports, you get a penalty mark. So you get a penalty mark of 2% for every progress report you don't manage to submit. So it is really important at some point over those 2 weeks, you submit a progress report for each and every lab task sheet. Otherwise, you will incur penalties. Okay, so that is the main online resources I wanted to go and show you. So a reminder, the 2 things you need to look at: the Minerva module web pages, the YouTube video tutorials, which are linked onto it, and the module website, which is all about monitoring the mini assessments and reporting your progress reports so that you don't get penalised for not having done it.